Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Before starting the video, please subscribe and keep watching for more details videos. Coco Gauff clinches, second Montreal comeback versus Veronika Kudermetova. Coco Gauff staved off defeat for a second time at the Omnium Banque Nationale, rallying from a set and a breakdown to defeat Veronika Kudermetova 4-6, 7-5, 6-2. The top seed has struggled for consistency since winning her second Grand Slam title at Roland Garros last month, but found her fighting form when she needed it most to hold off Kudermetova after 2 hours and 32 minutes on center court. Back at number 2 in the WTA rankings, Gauff played inspired tennis to topple world number 1 Aryna Sabalenka on the terra battue, but went 0-2 on grass, crashing out of Wimbledon in the first round. Her kickoff to the U.S. Open swing nearly ended in similar fashion before the American rallied to defeat Collins in a third-set tiebreaker. Gauff looked to be a clear favorite, having won her last 2 matches against Kudermetova, a former world number 9 down to number 40. But the 28-year-old came into the match with a solid win over number 29 seed Olga Danilovic under her belt, and Kudermetova quickly took a similar lead over Gauff on Thursday. Roaring back from 3-0 down in the opening set, Kudermetova won 6 of the next 7 games to serve out the opening set. She rode that momentum into another break advantage to start the second set. A set and 1-3 down, Gauff narrowly avoided a double break deficit by saving a break point in the 5th game and turned the match on its head when she leveled the second set with a strong forehand return. Despite struggling on serve, Gauff saved 2 break points in a marathon 9th game, putting herself on the brink of a decider. She saved another break point at 5-5 and put the pressure back on Kudermetova, who buckled at set point down to push the match into a final set. Gauff carried that momentum through a 5th straight game, earning a 3-0 advantage in the 3rd. Kudermetova halted the run with a hold of serve, but Gauff was in full flight and served her way to a 5-2 lead. After standing 5 points from victory in the second set, Kudermetova found herself serving to stay alive. Gauff earned 2 match points and converted her second to edge over the finish line in just over 2.5 hours. Standing between Gauff and a spot in the quarterfinals will be the winner of the 3rd round between Marie Bouzkova and Canadian wildcard Victoria Mboko. Gauff beat both women on clay in the spring, Bouzkova en route to the Roland Garros title, and Mboko from a set down at the Internazionale Biennale d'Italia in Rome. In the heart of Montreal, where the courts shimmer under the summer sun and the echoes of tennis legends linger like ghostly applause, Coco Gauff once again proved that her journey is far from ordinary. In a dramatic, sweat-soaked duel against Veronika Kudermetova, the 2023 U.S. Open champion dug deep, fought fiercely, and carved out a thrilling comeback victory, the second such instance in the span of just a few days on Canadian soil. But this wasn't just another win. This was survival. This was resilience. This was Coco Gauff at her most human, and perhaps, paradoxically, her most divine. Act 1, the shadow of doubt. Coming into the match, Gauff carried the weight of expectation and the burden of inconsistency. Her serve, once considered a rising weapon, had become a recurring question mark. Double faults were piling up like storm clouds, and her footwork seemed at times unsure, as though she were searching for her best self rather than expressing it. Yet behind every flicker of self-doubt was a flicker of flame. Facing Veronika Kudermetova, who had herself fought off tough opposition to reach this stage, Gauff knew she would be tested. Kudermetova is a player of precision and poise, her ground strokes carving up the court with a quiet menace. Their prior meetings had been split, and this was no friendly exhibition. This was battle, and in the early going, it looked like Gauff might crumble. Kudermetova pounced on short balls, took time away from Gauff, and exploited her hesitation on serve. Before the crowd could settle into their seats with popcorn and hope, Kudermetova had taken the first set 6-3. The murmurs began. Was Coco sliding? Was this the cost of fame, of pressure, of expectation devouring instinct? But what those murmurs forgot was who Coco Gauff truly is. Act 2, a fire rekindled. What separates the good from the great isn't perfection, it's adaptation. Gauff came out in the second set with a resolve so visible it hung in the air like humidity. She started hitting with more depth, injecting spin and shape into her forehand. The errors began to turn into winners, and the tension in her shoulders eased just enough for her natural rhythm to return. Kudermetova, sensing the shift, grew more tentative. The crowd, vibrant, multicultural, and buzzing with support, rose to meet Gauff's energy. They didn't cheer her perfection. They cheered her perseverance. Midway through the second set, down 2-3 and facing break points, Gauff delivered a thunderous ace that kissed the line. The stadium erupted. Then came a cross-court backhand that whistled past Kudermetova's outstretched racket. And then another ace. And another. She held. And that hold changed everything. From that point on, Coco Gauff wasn't just holding serve. She was holding command. She broke Kudermetova in the very next game, sealing it with a stunning forehand pass on the run that drew comparisons to Serena in her prime. The set ended 6-4, and the air was electric. Everyone in the stadium knew they were witnessing something not just competitive, but redemptive. Act 3. The heart of a champion. The final set was not for the faint of heart. Both players knew what was at stake. A place in the quarterfinals, yes. Ranking points, yes. But also pride. Momentum. A sense of direction in a season filled with unpredictable twists. Kudermetova came out swinging, trying to reassert dominance. But Gauff had transformed. She wasn't just reacting anymore. She was dictating. Each rally was a micro-war. Each point a lesson in endurance. Gauff's legs moved like pistons. Her mind like a maestro conducting chaos into music. There were still double faults. She ended the match with 9 of them. But every flaw came with a response. Kudermetova fought valiantly, saving 3 break points with steely winners. But Gauff wouldn't be denied. At 4-4. She played a service game that felt like an exorcism. A hold at love, featuring a dazzling drop shot, a lob, and a forehand winner that painted the line. The roar from the Montreal crowd was deafening. Gauff raised her fist, looked to her box, and nodded, not in celebration, but in declaration. This was hers to take, and take it she did. With Kudermetova serving to stay in the match, Gauff pounced on a second serve, sent a looping return deep, and followed it in. Kudermetova's reply floated, and Gauff smashed it away. 2 points later, a backhand error from the Russian sealed it. Final score, 3-6, 6-4, 6-4. Post-match reflections, growth in real time. As she stood courtside, towel draped over her shoulder, the crowd still buzzing, Coco Gauff didn't beam like a conqueror. She breathed like a survivor. In her post-match interview, she was reflective. "I'm proud of how I stayed in it," she said. "It wasn't clean, and I still have things to work on, but I fought. That's what matters most right now." It wasn't a headline-grabbing quote, but it was real. It was honest, and it showed exactly why Gauff continues to rise, not always linearly, not without setbacks, but always forward. What made this comeback special wasn't just that she did it again. It was how. She acknowledged her flaws, leaned into the discomfort, and still found a way to win. The bigger picture, Montreal as metaphor. Gauff's 2 comeback wins in Montreal have become symbolic of her broader journey. At just 21, she's already seen the peaks and valleys of tennis life. She's been the wunderkind, the underdog, the favorite, the doubted. Now, she's becoming the complete player. Her game still has layers to evolve. Her second serve remains a puzzle, and her shot selection can sometimes tilt too safe or too wild. But her mental strength is undeniable. In a sport that devours the weak-minded and overhypes the young, Coco is maturing not through perfection, but persistence. Her matches are becoming chapters in a longer novel, messy, riveting, unfinished. Final thoughts, why it mattered. This one wasn't about rankings or stats. It was about affirmation. That yes, even when struggling, she is capable of greatness. That yes, growth is uncomfortable, but vital. That yes, Coco Gauff is no longer just a name in bold headlines. She's a blueprint of modern resilience. As the sun dipped over Montreal and the crowd filtered out into the twilight, there was a feeling in the air, not just of relief or excitement, but of anticipation. Because if Coco Gauff can survive matches like this, what might she accomplish when she thrives? One thing's certain, Montreal didn't just witness a win. It witnessed the next step in the making of a legend.